Welcome back, you degenerate Genshin Impact players. 2023 was one of the years of Genshin Impact. It was definitely a Genshin Impact year. We got 15 new characters, and I'm going to be ranking those characters. And if you have a problem with opinion, I'm not sure why you're on the internet. I don't know. But you can see we have this super amazing tier with the absolute menace right below it. We also have better than most, can't care less, because, you know, this is me. I couldn't care less. And then D, I'll let you figure out what the D stands for. If you can't figure that one out, maybe the comment section of this video could help you. Alhaitham. The first one I want to talk about is my man, Alhaitham. Now, Alhaitham as a character got a lot of, oh, he's just a Dendro Kaching, which honestly, to be honest with his playstyle, he does play very similarly to a Dendro Kaching. And he does have a couple of things that I personally don't like, but I cannot sit here and tell you that I'm going to rank him really low because there's a couple of things that I don't like about him. No, he's a very powerful C0 DPS. He's Dendro. He scales off of 2 different attacking stats, so he works very well in aggravate and quicken teams. You can put him in these Dendro-focused DPS teams and do a lot with him. His play pattern isn't too hard for a mobile player or a new player to get behind because, yeah, he plays kind of like Kaching, except you don't need to try to do cool stuff by dashing up in the air, whatever. And I don't like this that much, but I'm not going to knock him too hard for it, is that the imbue that he gets, that Dendro imbue that he gets, is a little delayed. So you will use the skill and go to want to attack somebody, and your main attack is still going to be doing physical damage. And this could get a little bit worse if you don't have like the best connection ever. Maybe you're on a train to Busan or something, and your Wi-Fi isn't really doing that well for you there, and you might not get the imbue right away. So good luck. But with all that being said, I'm actually going to put him in the absolute menace tier because of just everything we talked about, how flexible he is, how much damage he can do, and how easy he really is to play. Wriothesley. Now, next up is going to be our favorite kind of wolf dude. I don't know. Is he actually a wolf? I'm not a lore aficionado. You can maybe help him out, help me out. Now, listen, I don't really hate Wriothesley at all, but he's cool. He's neat. He's got some of the Fontaine mechanics where you gain HP, you lose HP, you can punch things in the face. It's just, there's not a lot of ways to make him like amazingly strong. He's not a bad character. He's just not super crazy good. And we can kind of see this with Cryo as an element recently, right? Freeze has kind of lost its luster with all these big monsters and bosses in the abyss that you can't freeze. We don't have something like a Pyro Xingqiu out there to do cool stuff with Wriothesley. He's supposed to be the man on the field doing big damage and, doing that bonus big charge attack, but he's got like a kind of whatever elemental burst, just does damage, nothing super crazy. He got some punches in there. He's just kind of basic and a little boring out there, and he doesn't have sort of the support that you would want a character like this, like a big main damage dealing character to sort of have. If he was like a pyro element character, right? We just think about that real quick. All of a sudden, you could be vaporizing everything with all the different off-field hydro applicators we have nowadays. But that's not him. That's not what he can do. So he's gonna be in the B tier, like better than most, but like not like super crazy good out there, So that's where he's gonna be staying. But it's not a bad place for him to be. At least it's not in the can't care less tier. Lyney. I want to talk about everyone's favorite first Fontaine character. I saw all of the memes. I saw all of the great stuff, blowing up all the poor little Timmy pigeons, right? Taking snapshots with the big explosions. I want to talk about Lyney. I know he's near and dear to a lot of players' hearts out there, and he was the first Fontaine character, and everyone was like, ooh, my new shiny toy, let's make memes with him. They were cool memes, by the way. But if you know me at all, you know that I literally cannot stand level 2 charge attacks. I can't do it. I hate it. I literally gave Mihoyo like a lot of money, so I didn't have to have level 2 charge attacks on my Ganyu, and I'm surely not doing that again for another character like Lyney. I will say he does have a cool constellation sort of thing where for the first time we've seen constellations that increase your normal attack as well as your charge attack level, which is kind of neat out there. But unless you really like just doing level 2 charge attacks and exploding some things, if you really like that playstyle, go for it. But as for me and my house here, I'm gonna put my man Lyney in the couldn't care less category because I literally could not care less that he exists in the game. Kirara. We already covered a Dendro character, but let's talk about another one real quick. And for what she's fine. She applies Dendro. She's giving you a Dendro shield so you can block bloom damage better, right? It's okay. She applies and does a little bit of Dendro. She's not like a crazy character though. She's got this elemental burst that like spawns stuff and applies more Dendro. It's fine. It's okay. She's okay. I don't hate her, but for being like a support Dendro DPS sort of character, she's fine. I'm not excited about her. I don't hate her. And there's definitely going to be some other Dendro characters that I would absolutely suggest that you had on your account. And I thought they had better launches and more impact than Kirara did. So, I mean, I don't know really where to put her. Like, honestly, the fact that based off what I just said, that there's other characters I'd rather use, I'm going to put her in the couldn't care less category too. I know opinions on the internet. It's tough. Yao Yao, but I'm not going to leave you hanging because let's talk about another character I would rather have on my account. And there's a couple of things that I like about Yao Yao. She was the first Dendro healer character, which doesn't sound like a lot on paper, but she was a 4-star Dendro character that would apply Dendro, so you could use her in your Bloom teams, your Aggravate teams, your Quicken teams, whatever. And she also had that healer role, which is awesome because if you're trying to make a team with characters that you enjoy in Genshin Impact, sometimes you were just like, I need a Dendro character or two so I can do Blooms and Aggravates and Quickens and stuff, but I also need to fit a healer in my team somewhere, and she made it so much easier to have access to a team that needed those requirements, would meet those requirements. So she was freaking awesome as a launch character when she was released. And if I have the correct memories, I do think that she was accessible for you to select for free from like the Lantern Rite Festival or some sort of event like that, allowing you to literally pick the only 4-star Dendro healer character that existed in the game at that time, meaning that she had a very powerful launch. And because of that, I will put her probably in the absolute menace category up there with Alhaitham because of just how unique she is as a character. In fact, talking about Dendro healers, I don't really think that there's any other 4-star Dendro healers in Genshin. I think she's the only one. Mika. Now this next one's gonna break my heart. Maybe I'll do them both back to back because they both broke my heart. But I want to talk about my big sad Mika. Let's just talk about Mika. Because listen, I have Constellation 6 Eula. I've always liked doing the big physical damage, and that sort of archetype and team has kind of died in Genshin Impact recently. So when Mihoyo was saying, hey, we're gonna have a cryo character that can help you generate some particles and increase physical damage and attack speed and all this other cool stuff, I was like, okay, dude, I'm gaming. I am ready. I am ready to game with this man. And it just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. He had the big crit damage bonus locked behind Constellation 6. And if I'm just trying to have fun with an underused and sort of underwhelming archetype of team in Genshin being a big physical damage team, I don't feel like giving you a bunch of money so I can get my 60% crit damage, right? I don't feel like I want to be doing that. I don't really care about the Eagle Plume Feather stuff, right? I don't really care. He was cool. He was a healer. You could fit him in your party, but we already had so many other cryo characters for these weird physical teams that could support you with shielding or healing in some way. I'm talking about like characters like Diona or even someone like Rosaria who doesn't support you through healing, but supports you through applying cryo and increased crit rate and reduction to physical and cryo resist shred on enemies. And Mika just was like, I can do cool stuff like attack speed, but to really get any benefit, you can do like physical crit damage on C6. I'm not doing that. Are you doing that? I didn't do that. Did you do that? And for that reason, the reason of breaking my heart and my soul about my C6 physical Eula teams, I'm putting that boy straight into couldn't care less. I don't care that he's in the game. I don't. Freminet? Freminet. What? This character was like supposed to be like 4-star Eula-ish, but it's like, hey, you're making a 4-star Eula. Eula's not good. My C6 Eula is like not that cool. I can one-shot like bosses for my friends with it. That's cool. But when your hard content is just like my hilly trolls run to the sides of the abyss and they stand there and they backpedal and they just do all this cool stuff. Yeah, D. That's where he goes. He goes in D. Navia. Oh, we get to talk about Navia. We get to talk about Navia now. Navia, oh boy. Now I want this to be separate from Geo discussion as an element, right? Geo's as an element is weird. And when I say Geo as an element is in trouble, I don't mean Geo characters are in trouble. I mean, Geo as an element and how it works with Genshin Impact characters is just, it's bad. It's in a very bad spot. It's in a very terrible spot. Navia tried to spruce this up by turning its elemental reaction into literal ammo because they can't figure out what else to do with it as an element apparently. And honestly, she does a lot of damage. She's really cool. There's a lot of flexibility with Navia. You can put her into a ton of different team compositions and have her work well. The most popular ones probably like Bennett, right? Buff up that damage, apply some stuff, maybe throw out some off-field applications and you're good to go there. You buff up her attack, you do a bunch of damage that way. She's cool. She's got a lot of unique attributes. She's very easy to build as well because, well, she's a claymore character that scales off of attacks. You can use old staples like Serpent Spine with her, Wolf's Gravestone. A lot of old weapons are very good on her as well. You don't really feel the need to go and pull for her brand new shiny 5-star unique weapon that for some characters, for instance, will be like, I scale off elemental mastery and attack and crit chance and crit damage. Oh, my weapon happens to do all of those things. Wow, I can't believe that happened. She just needs attack. She's cool. And for all of these reasons, I'm putting her in super amazing tier. Like, what else do you want me to say? Flexible, does big damage, fun to play with, have fun out there, go shoot things. I don't know. Charlotte. Another more recent character is Charlotte. And honestly, we need to think about and talk about Charlotte real quick because this character really irks me. She came out with a character, Furina, that damages your whole party. You're like, okay, she damages the whole party. Maybe I need a way to heal up my whole party real fast, real fast. Well, we have the ability to heal. Let's check it out here at C0. The active character. The active character. Why is it active character healing only? If I wanted an active character healing, attack scaling cryo character, I'd use one of the 9 million Chi-Chis I had. Or, I don't know, maybe I'd go with a barrier using character like Diona or something. I'm not saying she's bad or she's awful. I'm sure there's a lot of cool things you can do with her. It's Genshin Impact. You can do cool things with every character. But as far as I'm concerned, when I saw this character, and I think I have like C6 of her, yay, D. Neuvillette. Mr. Neuvillette. Mr. Neuvillette. Mr. Neuvillette. I mean, he's going in super amazing tier. It's not that, it's not, I'm not even gonna go over his kit. He can solo fucking Abyss, okay? Whatever, man. That's where he goes. Kaveh. Kaveh. Now, Kaveh was an interesting one. Kaveh's an interesting monster, and there's a little bit of lore with Kaveh I wanna explain to you real quick. And I'm not gonna lie to you, he's a little underwhelming. He's supposed to be like this dendro core popper, but it's also like if you just make more dendro cores, they'll pop on their own. So like the gimmick was like you can make, you know, some other hydro character have low elemental mastery, right? And spawn all of the cores for you, and then your Alhaitham with like decently high elemental mastery can force pop those cores, and the cores popping and the dendro damage they'll do will be based off of his elemental mastery, possibly. But it's like, are you really gonna try to do that? Are you really gonna try to do that? Do you really care that much? Why aren't you just, I don't know, spawning the cores or whatever with someone with elemental mastery? It's not that big of a deal. It's not that hard to do. And if you don't want to do that, just swap Kaveh out for an electro character with elemental mastery on it, you know, and do it that way. Just do it that way. It's easier to do. We don't need a whole other character for, I want to be shitty hyper balloon. We don't need that. We don't want that in the game. The coolest thing he did, and I say cool, maybe we'll use the term impactful. The most impactful thing that Kaveh did was shut down everyone's want to play multiplayer, because people could literally blow up things in your world and planet for forever, including like, I don't know, statues of the 7, so you couldn't ever use them again because they would disappear off of your account, okay? And it's for that reason alone he goes straight into absolute menace here. The man literally shut the game down, okay? He shut it down. Lynette. Now, Lynette is a character that I want to use so much. I want to use her so much. She's very cool. She's got this super awesome stealth assassin combat elemental skill where she like turns into the Shadow Realm and runs in with this Enigma thrust. It's super friggin' cool. I love it. She's got a magic trick. She turns into a boggle bot, whatever that is. I don't know. But what she doesn't have natively in her kit until your Constellation 6 is Animo Infusion. I am so sad that some characters like this, or you just want to, she's not going to break the meta. If this was built into her kit, it won't break the game. It'd just be a cool thing to do. I mean, that's my face. That's how I feel. That's literally how I feel. You know what? Until then, couldn't care less. Couldn't care less. Dehya. If you couldn't figure it out, this D down here, this is the Dehya tier. All right, that's where she goes. Baizhu. Baizhu got even better with the launch of some other characters and Fontaine mechanics that require you to heal. Being a Dendro character makes you extremely flexible. You play well with one of the best, actually the best element in the game of Hydro. So it opens you up to Bloom teams, Hyper Bloom teams. You can do stuff like that. You also have the ability to play with Electro for Aggravate as well as Quicken teams. So he's going to be doing a lot of cool stuff. He's got a very powerful elemental skill. It's a very short 10-second cooldown, very nice quick burst of healing. And he's got the ability as a catalyst character to just do and apply Dendro as much as you want. Even his heal applies Dendro. His normal attacks will always apply Dendro. And then you have the elemental burst, which is going to give you some nice small shields, a little bit of Spirit Vine damage to apply more Dendro, and also has some quick mini heals over and over and over and over. Every time that shield breaks or is reapplied, you're going to get some nice little healing over and over and over, which is sick. So yeah, I spoiled it for you. Originally, before the launch of our last character here, I probably would have put him in like the Absolute Menace category, but I think Baizhu is actually really strong now. Furina, one of the best characters of all time in Genshin Impact. That's where she's gonna go. That's where she's gonna be for forever. Off-field damage, which is insane off-field damage at Constellation Zero. Some nice upfront healing if you want to do that. You can use it in the open world as well if that's something for you to do. You can even min-max certain team compositions and rotations based around cycling through all your supports while she's in heal form, popping her burst, swapping her back to DPS form, and then quickly draining everyone's health while someone else does a little healing for you there. And then obviously the giant healing as well as damage bonus you get from all the fanfare stacks. She's a character that is going to literally shape the power in team compositions that you want to make with your teams in Genshin Impact. She's done so many great things for so many great characters that were kind of hard to buff up before, like Geo characters and maybe Animo damage dealers, because you don't have Viridius and Venrith set to buff those damage types up. You don't have a lot of things that play well with some characters from those elements. And even if you have other characters that you can buff up, right? You're not using Dendro and Animo characters, you're using just whatever. She's hydro element, so if you put her in a pyro, focus team, it opens you up to vaporize. You can put her in a freeze team. You can put her in basically whatever you want. You can throw Furina into, and she's gonna make your team absolutely wildly insane. Now, she does have a couple of drawbacks, right? You do sort of want to have the ability to heal your team up to make max use of your fanfare stacks, but like we talked about, if you get the rotation down, you play with that team enough, maybe you made some Frankenstein's monster of a team out there, you're going to have the ability to have the knowledge of which way you need to play her. You'll swap her back into heal form, quickly go through all your supports to heal them back up, and then drop the burst, swap her back into DPS form, and just gain all of your fanfare stacks for your rotation and drop all that damage during your elemental burst. So she can do insane things for you, and that is why we are putting her right into the amazing, super amazing S tier category. If you don't like this, I'm sorry. I'm not sure why you're on the internet, but if you hate this tier list, then I really don't care. Until then, be blessed out there, and I'll see you in the next one.